I welcome you all back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we'll be talking about SURDs. This is a complete study under SURDs, and if you are new to this YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like, and don't forget to comment. We are going to talk about SURDs. I wrote down the definition of a SURD here that can help us understand what we are really talking about. I said a SURD is a square or anyth root that cannot be expressed as a rational number. So each time we are talking about a SURD, we are talking about a square or an anyth root that cannot be expressed as a rational number. So we've got examples of SURDs. We've got root 2. You can have root 2 like that. That is an example of a SURD. You can have root 2. So root 3, root 2. You can have root 10. All these are examples of SURDs. So this is what you need to know under SURDs. And there are rules that get to govern SURDs. So let us discuss about, there are just 3 rules that you are supposed to know. So we go to rules, some rules that you are supposed to know under this topic. The first rule is called the product law. So it's called the product law. So what do I mean when I say the product law? What do I mean? So the product law, under this, what you need to know is that the product rule is that it states that when you've got something like root A, you are multiplying it. Product means multiplication. Root B. This is equal to what? You just get this A, B. This is what it means. So under the product law, just know that whenever you are multiplying numbers in the root, just multiply those 2 numbers. So this means that when you've got, let's say, when you've got root 3 times root 2, this is just the same as what? Root 3 times 2, 6. This is just the same as root 6. So you just need to multiply what is inside. So make sure you know these. They look very simple, but once you forget one part or one concept, this topic may tend to be bad on your side. The second one that you are going to talk about is called the quotient law. So I want us to talk about the quotient law. Let us discuss a bit on the quotient law. So the quotient, I believe you know what I mean. We are just talking about division. So let's say you've got root A, then being divided by root B. So what is the answer there? You know that this is just the same as root A, then you say over what? Over root B. This is just one and the same. So this can also be summarized as this. You just put everything under the same root where you say A over B. This is just one and the same thing. So saying root A divided by root B, this is the same as root A over B. It's just one and the same thing. So even as we begin to look at questions, this will really help you understand what I'm explaining. So make sure you understand all these parts that I'm telling you, all these simple parts that I'm explaining before you. So now let us look at the last one, which is the third one. We look at the third one. So the third one that we are going to talk about is very simple also. So the third one that you will discuss is very simple. It is called a scale multiple. So a scale multiple. It is called a scale multiple and stroke, or it can also be called the sum law. So it can also be called a sum law, just like this. So this means that whenever you've got numbers, let's say you are having something like C root A plus D root A. How can you go about this? How can you answer something like this? So this, you can recall something on indices, what we covered during our secondary school. We did something on indices. So we said that whenever you are having same bases, you need to add the coefficients, then maintain the same, when you're having the same variable, let's say x plus x, just 2x, you've added the coefficients. When I say 4x plus 10x, you're just going to add the numbers, then you maintain the variable. So this is what is happening here. We're having root A. So just a matter of adding these numbers, C plus D, you add these, then you just maintain root A. This is what we get to mean or talk about. So whenever you've got something like 4 root 2 plus 5 root 2, what is your answer there? You just add these two. So 4 plus 5, it is 9 root 2. That is your answer. So this is what we definitely talk about, and this is what you really need to know and understand. Hope you are getting something. I believe you are learning. So all these are only 3 laws that will help us handle each question under SURDs. So let's make sure that we get this, we understand each and every point that I'm discussing with you. So let us now proceed and look at some examples under this. Let us look at certain examples under this topic. We look at examples. So we focus on a bit on these examples. So that's telling you simplify. Simplify the following. How can you simplify these? We've got the first one. A is just root 40. How can you simplify root 40? So the way in which we are going to simplify this one, the first one is just telling us root 40. How can you simplify this? So what you need to do is that you look for two numbers which you can multiply these. You multiply them, you get a 40. So you need to put one thing in mind. Even as you are multiplying these two, you need to make sure that one has got a perfect square. That's what you need to make sure. So you say, okay, if I say 4 times 10, I'm going to get a 40. I know that there is root 4. I'm able to find root 4. So it is the same as root 4 times root 10. This is just one and the same thing. So this is what I need to do. This is what I need to follow. So here, as long as you've got root 4, root 10. Have you seen? So it is very easy to find root 4. Root 4 is what? 2. So just same as 2 root 10. So this is your answer. That's how you get to simplify that. So root 40 and 2 root 10, they're just the same. We go to another one. So what if you've got root 50? Root 50. How can you work out this one? So root 50, you know two numbers that you can multiply. It's 2 times 25. Just put them in the root like this. So you know that this is root 2 times root 25. So like this, you know, root of 25 is what? 5. So just 5 root 2. Just one and the same thing. Have you seen the way I'm simplifying this? This is how you need also to be simplifying them. This is how you need to be working them out. What if you've got something like, let's say, root 48 plus root 27, something like that. How can you work out that part? So you start with this. Which two numbers can you multiply to get 48. And on those two numbers you've chosen, you need to make sure that there is one that you can find the root of it. So let's say 16 times 3. I do this, then I just do this. I know that I can find the square root of 16 plus 27. It is what? 9 times 3. I do this. Have you seen the same way I'm doing them? That's how you need to be doing them. So this is the same as what? How can you simplify this? This is the same as root 16 times root 3 plus root 9 times root 3. So this is 4 root 3 plus this is 3 root 3. Have you seen? So now finally you can now see that this is root 3. So you just add this is 7 root 3 as your final answer. So this is how we get to simplify SURDs. So this is how you get to simplify SURDs. This is very simple, and I believe you are able to work out this part. This is the simplest part that you can't fail to do. Even in an exam, you can't fail to do this. So let's make sure that we know how to work out this. We know how to go about such questions. I move to the other part. So let me talk about another part. So the other part that we will now start talking about is called, we are calling it, we want to rationalize the denominator. How can you rationalize the denominator? So it's called the rationalizing the denominator. Rationalizing the denominator. How can you rationalize the denominator? So before you learn how to rationalize the denominator, there are things that you need to know. There are parts that you need to understand. So let's say you've got 1 over root 2 and you want to rationalize the denominator. How can you rationalize the denominator of this? So you just need to multiply throughout by root 2. So on top root 2, even down root 2. Why are you doing this? So that when you multiply these two, this root will be tempered with. So rationalizing the denominator, you want to remove the root which is down. So when you multiply, these two, 1 times root 2, that's root 2 over, you are going to have root 2 on top, root 2 over root 2 squared, which is equal to root 2 over root 2 times a square there. This square and this will cancel out. You're going to remain with a 2. So this will be your answer. So you've rationalized the denominator. So that's how you need to rationalize the denominator. And these are the procedures that you need to do, get, and understand. So what I mean is that whenever you've got 1 over root a, you want to rationalize the denominator, you multiply both sides by this thing which is down. Root a times what? Root a over here, which is equal to 1 times root a. You are going to get root a over root a in brackets, then a square, which is just the same as root a over these 2, and that will be cancelled. You are going to remain with a. This is what I mean. So these are some of the things that you need to know, get, and understand. So let's say you've got something like this. You've got something which is like this. You are told to rationalize the denominator, where you are given 4 over root 7. How can you go about this? You multiply both sides by this one, root 7, even here root 7, which is equal to, here you are going to get 4 root 7 over, down here you are going to get root 7 in bracket squared, because you are multiplying the same thing, root 7 like this, which is equal to So what is the answer there? 4 root 7 over what? Over 7. So this is your answer. So what I mean is that when you say root 2 times root 2, your answer is 2. Just the same. So when I say root 7 times root 7, root 7 times root 7, the answer is just a 7. This is what we get to talk about. This is what we get to mean. So this is what you need to know and understand. Make sure you understand these two parts. Now there is also another part that you need to know. There is a part that you need to understand. We talk about a conjugate set. So we get to talk about now a conjugate. What is a conjugate? Under this, need to know what a conjugate is. What is a conjugate? So a conjugate just changes the operation. So it is going to change the operation. Let's say you've got A plus root B. So when you want to talk about the conjugate, it changes the operation. So the operation will be changed of this SURD. So which means what we are going to have is A minus root B, like this. So just the operation is going to change. We are going to change the operation. When you've got something like root 2 minus root 3, like this. Have you seen the way it is like this? Meaning, when you want to find the conjugate of this, the operation changes the sign there. So we just have root 2 plus root 3. Have you seen? Like this. So what changes is the operation. We just need to change the operation. The operation gets to change. Just the operation that changes. So these are things that you need to know. These are things that you need to understand. So let us now look at a perfect example under this. You are told to rationalize the denominator. You are told to rationalize. This is the question. You are told to rationalize the denominator. Like this, you are told to rationalize the denominator. You are given something like, I'm just giving you simple ones, so I want you to get an understanding from this. This is what you are told. Rationalize the denominator of this. How can you rationalize the denominator? So how you need to go about this one is very simple. What you need to do is that you get to find the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate of this. So the conjugate of this is, it changes the operation. So we are just going to have a minus. Then you get the conjugate, multiply it to the both sides. So the conjugate is root 3 minus 1. You also multiply it down here. You say root 3 like this, root 3 minus 1 like this. This is what you are going to do. So 1 times that, what are you going to get? 1 times that, just root 3 minus 1. You say over. You start multiplying these. So as you can see, the way they are just same as root 3 plus 1, like this. Also root 3 minus 1. This is what you are given. Then you start multiplying. I believe you know how to multiply these now. So root 3 minus 1 will maintain. Then you move down. You start root 3 times root 3. That is a 3. See? That is a what? A 3. Then root 3 times 1. That is negative root 3. You go to 1. 1 times root 3. That is plus root 3. 1 times negative 1. That is negative 1 like that. Which is equal to root 3 minus 1 over. So these, have you seen, this is negative, this is positive, this is a 0 here. We are going to have a 0. This is the same as you are given numbers like -2 plus 2. You get a 0. So even here, this is a 0. This is the same as 3 minus 1, which is a 2 here. So you have a 2 there. That is a 2. So you can leave your answer here. If you want, you can leave your answer here. So this is your answer. Or you can leave it here where you say √3/2 minus 1/2. Like this. This is just one and the same thing. This and this, they're just the same thing. So for those of you that have got assignments or you've got a question that you want to communicate with me, you can text me on my WhatsApp line. This is my WhatsApp line. You get to chat with me on this WhatsApp number. And you need to put in mind that everything that you get to do, we do it at a fee, at an affordable fee. So if you've got an assignment, we get to answer it for you at an affordable fee. This is my number, 0971 066747 plus 260971 066747. This is my number. You can get in touch with me on this same number. Then I'll be able to help you with mathematics. So let us now answer this question. This is your question. You rationalize the denominator. 4 plus √5 over 3 minus 2 √5. This is your exercise. I want you to try this with the knowledge that you've gathered. Let's try to answer this question. We see how we've understood this topic. So this is a full topic under SURDs. Needs to make sure that you know it, you understand it clearly. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, share and comment.